Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Mike Ames Show. I have returned to my rightful place, and today we are, as you can see, going to be talking about how you can win high-value new clients during a recession, and we're going to pepper some tactics throughout. Now, just a quick word of warning on this, guys. This is a big topic, and we want to give it the time that it deserves. We are normally really good at finishing bang on half past, but we might overrun a little bit on this. So bear with us. If for any reason you have to leave, you can, of course, get the recording over on YouTube or find it on our socials as well. So, Mike, in the promo, you mentioned that vacancy scraping, candidate speccing, and referrals are all going to drop. They're not going to be as effective as they were in the past. Now, can you elaborate on this for me, please?
Well, first thing to say, I can't say for definite anything's going to happen, and neither can anyone else. But as a business owner, it's your job to predict what's going to happen. And if it looks likely enough, and if it looks hideous enough, you've got to have a tactic to deal with that. And I believe that there's a big enough indication that it's going to be tough. So you need to do something, even if it doesn't turn out as bad as you might think. Kirsty, the alternative is really bad. Okay, so yes, I think that first thing to say is that the downturn that we had in 2020 was caused by COVID. The fact that we couldn't work together, we couldn't go into an office, we couldn't be with each other. The economy was strong. And when it started to go south, the government pumped loads of money into it through furlough and through loans. Well, it's different this time because our economy is not in good shape. We've got runaway inflation, energy prices going through the roof. We've got a war in the Ukraine, which is affecting supply chain. We've still got a hangover from COVID. We've still got a hangover from Brexit. The whole thing is completely different. And added to that, the government is not going to push a load of money into the economy because it's busy paying off people's gas bills, which is a good thing. But the point is, it's completely different. It's not the same as it was in 2020. It's closer to 2008, or I think as well, it feels very similar to 1990. Actually, same kind of vibe going on.
It's a completely different world that we are living in, which I think leads us very nicely into what we're all here for, really. That five part strategy in order to help us combat that. So
Are you breaking those teeth in for the dog?
Do you know what it is? I'm a bit rusty. I haven't been done one since July. It's my first one back. Be gentle with me, everybody. Be gentle with me. So Mike, can we start off with that first strategy, which is probably, you would say, the most important one, I think?
Well, it's the root, it's the core of it all, really. And it's to define your flavour of recruitment, right? So that now, I know that sounds a bit arty-farty and a bit, oh my God, he's not going to talk about that, is he? Oh, no. This is like really, really important. And I'm going to use an analogy of ice cream because I like ice cream, actually.
Will do.
What's your favourite flavour ice cream, Kirsty?
Pralines and cream, obviously.
Okay, so if you went into that little shop in Abu Dhabi, 20 different ice creams, you'd seek that one out most of the time.
Always, pretty much always.
Unless you fancied a bit of a change, right? Mine is rum and raisin, and I like cookie dough, right? So why is this important? Well, if you use this analogy, of recent times, there's been like vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. That's been it, really. In other words, there's been such a shortage of candidates that you took whatever you could get. It's not about being picky. You went to the supplier that could get you, the agency that could get you really good quality people and fill the gaps that you had. You weren't really picky about anything else. Well, if the market flips as it did in 2008 and the 90s, then you're going to have a choice now. You can have whatever flavour of recruitment you like because there's going to be an increasing number of candidates out there. Not initially, but the Bank of England thinks that this recession will last all next year, perhaps beyond. So at some point, the candidates and vacancies balance will switch, and by which time all this that I'm going to tell you today needs to be in place, right? So in terms of the flavour of ice cream, you can have what you want as a client. What you don't want is vanilla, right? That's not what people want. They want the flavour that suits them. So your job is to define the flavour of recruitment that you are going to champion. You're the go-to guy or the go-to girl for that flavour of recruitment. So if you want it, you come to me. And the thing with recruitment, this type of recruitment, this flavour thing, which I'm going to drill down to in a minute because it's like really important. I'm going to tell you how to do it actually. The thing with that is that you'll repel as many people as you attract.
Yeah.
But the people you attract will buy from you. They'll want to buy because they want that flavour of recruitment. That's the thing that resonates with them.
I also think that they're more likely to stay, because if you've got something that really matches, like I rarely deviate from the pralines and cream because it's perfect in every way, right? So if you hit on a flavor of recruitment that works for your client, they're less likely, because they don't like bubble gum and they don't like strawberry. They just like pralines and cream. They're going to stick with it. They're going to be easier to protect.
If we push this to its extreme before we look at the actual detail, which is where I want to get to, in truth, I mean, I have 2 or 3 different flavors, as I said, and I might fancy another one from time to time to give it a bit of a go. But we're now limiting ourselves. That's the point. It's not that you only have one flavor of ice cream like you weirdo. It's actually that you're going to dispense with this stuff that you don't really like and just going to stick to that. And so therefore you must make sure, another metaphor now, you must pitch your flag on the hill that you want to occupy. You see this here? If you want this, you come to me because I'm the guy or the girl that does this, and I do it better than anybody else. So this is almost as much about repelling people, because when you start promoting your flavor, you'll repel as many people as you attract, right? And that's cool because the ones that you do attract are the ones who are likely to buy from you. And it's a kind of a different way of looking at it, because we haven't had to do this. If you haven't traded before 2000, well, around about 2008, 2010, not seeing the kind of market we're moving into, 2020 was not the same. I'll tell you that now. So what we need to do is spend a lot of time now getting this flavor right.
Okay, Mike. So on that, I feel the analogy is sort of there. Can we now flip it into actual recruitment terms? Can we flip it into what that means when you're talking about flavor?
Oh God. Oh, I didn't know you were going to ask me that. Of course we can. Yeah. Right. Right. So this flavor of recruitment is really made up of 3 bits, really. So we need the ICP. So okay, these are the kind of clients I deal with, right? And whereas you might have a wide ICP at the moment, if somebody comes to you and you got the right person, yeah, do it. That's reactive, and you can still be reactive like that. If someone comes to you who's not a great ICP, but you can do some business with them and you feel you can do a good job for them, that's fine. What we're talking about here is what you're promoting to the outside world.
ICP is ideal client profile for
ICP, right? If you've got a niche, I mean, that's part of it, but you would make it plain that that's the niche. This is my hill where my flag is. And lastly, your beliefs. I'm going to drill into those beliefs in a minute, because they're the thing that I think people don't put enough effort into. And yet they're great, because I want you to think of this process as sifting out who you don't want to trade with or you can't trade with, and putting all your efforts on the people who are left. So it's an exclusive, not an inclusive activity. Whereas the natural assumption is attract as many people as you can, get them all in, because the clients are in there somewhere. And the best, and this is a real analogy, this is a real thing, really. It's not an analogy, it's an actual situation. Marketers at events like to get a load of people to an event because it's how it measures its success, right? 100 people, and somewhere in there are 3 people that you could sell to. Me, I'd sooner have a do with 3 people, and they're the people I can sell to, because half the problem is trying to find within all this mass of people the very people that would buy your flavor of recruitment. Yeah. And so this is about telling people, no, this is what we do. And it's real hard. I mean, it's real hard, because you think to yourself all the time, well, I'm doing away potential clients when I need clients. Yeah, I know. But stick with it, because if you're very definite what you want, the more likelihood is that you will get it. You know, why did Nokia go out of business? Because they were middle of the road producing cheap phones, and they thought people would like it. Just as Apple promoted or started to promote their smartphones with all this extra stuff and changed the dialogue, they had a different flavor that was more attractive. And you don't want to be Nokia. You know, you don't want to be vanilla phones, do you?
No one wants to be Nokia. Now, Mike, before we move on to beliefs, which I think we're going to move on in a second, we have had a question, which I think is quite good. So Luke's asked, are we not the ice cream shop owner, though? So are we not in control of our multi? Can we not offer lots of flavors to hit everybody? I think is what the question is.
Yes, you can, but you've got to get people in the shop. And if it's a very good question, actually, Luke. So if you were a really big company, then that's exactly what you are. We've got all these ice creams, we've got this division and that division. If you're a smaller business, and almost all my clients are smaller businesses, really, then you need to be able to promote, this is what we do, because you're going to get lost in the noise. In other words, you need to get people to enter your shop, if we can continue the analogy. You want to come in this shop if you want to buy tutti frutti ice cream. I just like saying tutti frutti.
We all do.
It's Italian for all fruits, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so it's a way of promoting it. If you try and be everybody's everything, you'll end up being nobody's nothing. I know there's a double negative in there, Kirsty.
I wasn't going to say anything. Well, you've got an analogy around this about, is it like a dog chasing rabbits?
Oh, no, it's not. It's an old Chinese proverb, and it's true. Apparently, it's not one of those Chinese proverbs that people make up. It's a real one, apparently. Confucius, he say, dog that chases two rabbits catches neither, and it's very true. Just concentrate on that rabbit. I'm going to catch it, and I was going to go to a very dark place there. I'm going to catch it and play with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But the point is that the more you go out to the world, which is going to come to our second part of the strategy in a minute, the more you go out to the world and say, this is me, this is me, this is me, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I believe. If you share all of these, come to me because I'm the guy, I'm the number one. Well, yes, if you're Michael Page, you can do that for loads of things. But if you're one small company, not so much.
Okay. Fantastic. So hopefully that's answered your question, Luke. So, Mike, before we move on to the step 2, I want to talk about what you mean by beliefs, because we've spoken about beliefs before, but they're slightly different than what you're talking about.
Well, beliefs covers quite a range of different things, really. Values are beliefs, if you think about it. We talked about values before, but values are like internal beliefs. So integrity, we tell the truth. What you see is what you get with us. We're not going to mislead you. We're not going to ghost you. We're not going to hold things back. We can rely on us. We're reliable. All of that is integrity. They're all internal, and they're kind of generic in a sense. Doesn't matter who you're dealing with. That's what you believe. Ours, we have integrity as one of ours. Simplicity is another one of ours. It's an internal thing. We try and make everything more and more simple. Right? Now, they're more use, funnily enough, for potential staff. You come and work here. This is what we do. This is how we see the world. If you don't share those values, don't come. But there are also external beliefs. They're the things that you believe in. And they're sort of by saying, well, if you don't share this belief, we probably won't do vast amounts together. We won't do great things together. So if you look at our business in Flair, we don't believe in 360 recruiter models because we just don't. I mean, I'm not going to go into it now. There's loads of videos explaining why I don't, right? But I don't. Now, have I got companies who are clients who have a 360 model? Yeah, because we're just doing a specific project with them. We're building a zero-cost marketing engine or something. And that's fine. We do that and we go. But the ideal clients, the people that I want, are the ones that say, well, we believe in a factory model as well. We don't believe in 360. We want to build a factory. Tick in a box. That's a belief. Yeah, I believe that we'll look for people who want to separate how much they earn from how hard they work. It's an external belief. If you want to do that, then come and talk to me. You see how this works. I'm putting some messages out there which either resonates with you and it doesn't. Now, it's interesting because I don't know how many people are on the show now, but just put in the comments if you too share my belief about factory, is that you don't believe that 360 is the way forward. Just put 360 or factory. Just put that in the comments, right? We'll let that go for a second or two. But I'll be amazed if we don't get a split vote because that's the way in which it works. And the people who are 360 are less likely to do work with me than the factory. But the factory people, and this is the killer, are more likely because they know what I stand for. That's what I stand for. And I can go through, this isn't a promotion for what I do, so I'm not going to cover the rest of my beliefs. But you've only got to talk to me or look at my social media stuff to see me talking about this all the time, because I want people to realize what I stand for, or we as a firm stand for. Because then if that's what you want, where else would you go? Because I'm the number one in that space I've created for myself. And all I'm saying for you as part of this strategy is to do the same. Identify the space that you want, define it through your ICP, your niche, and your beliefs. And then that brings us then to the second strategy, which is about promotion, right? So we want to promote the flavors of recruitment. Now, Why? Okay, so two things about this. Firstly, why do we want to do this? But because we want everyone to know out there that this is what we do. And also when people look and they think they might trade with us, or they become aware of us and they go online and look, they see the flavour of recruitment that we believe in. And therefore, if it resonates, they will move closer. Others will move further away.
So it's sort of like a first level of filter. Like, if you're like filtering out water or something, you have the first one, which is a really rough filter. So by promoting that our flavor of recruitment or our flavor of working with us, when people come into our radar for whatever purpose, they either go, oh, no, not for me, and don't waste hours or their time, or they go, oh, let's delve a little deeper. Is that what you kind of saying?
Yeah, because that's another thing. In a recession, you have to kiss a lot of frogs. So the less frogs that you have to kiss, the better your day's going to go. You know what I mean? So this is a way. Marketing is an exclusive, not inclusive activity. To exclude the people that will never trade with us or will be a pain in the arse if they do. And what's left, we put all our effort into. Can't say that enough. Okay. Right? Massively so.
So on this, Mike, promote has interesting connotations. A lot of people see promote as salesy, as sort of, this is how you can work with us, this is what we do, these are our USPs, sort of very salesy. Whereas other people, we see that in a slightly different sense, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, you can make this as complicated as you like, but since simplicity is one of our values, I'm going to keep it very simple. It's in the LinkedIn posts that you make. You promote there, and you promote when you talk to people. Okay, when you talk to potential clients or existing clients, and when you ask for referrals, which we're going to look at in a second. So that's when you use it. So when you put a post out now, you must begin to think about putting some of your flavor into it. So you don't want to do the whole thing. Hey, deal with me if, right? You don't want to be doing that because that's too much. But gradually, and if you look at my posts, you'll see me do this all the time. Gradually, we're putting in little bits that make it obvious of the kind of. So okay. Going back to what I was saying a few minutes ago, this is not a selling platform. We rarely promote anything, and I'm not going to promote anything at the end of this. That's for sure. But you now know that I am very keen on a factory model, not a 360 model. Just that one thing will resonate with some people and not with others. Imagine doing that with every post that you put out there. Gradually, what people will do is figure out what you're about. They'll figure out your flavor, and then either they'll come to you, which weirdly happens more when you do this, or when you go to them, they'll know who you are and what you stand for, and it's like, yeah, you can come and talk to me because I'm kind of interested in what you're saying. The number of times I have that conversation, I cannot tell you. I've got one later on this afternoon actually that started in exactly the same way, and the number of people say, I know exactly what you stand for. Yeah, I know all about that. Tell me about this, which is what we don't talk about online. So I think this promotion certainly is something that's subtle. Picture it. Oh, I tell you what, we are awash with metaphors today, aren't we?
That's a lot.
Back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, the way in which you presented what you did was in a big brochure, loads of information, like a big picture of this is what we are, plonk it on someone's desk. The way in which we do it now is we send out jigsaw puzzle pieces, and we let the clients and prospects assemble those jigsaw puzzle pieces themselves, because that picture that they get resonates so much more than if we just put something in front of them that they won't absorb anyway. And the way in which you do that is in your LinkedIn posts, videos, if you use them, tweets, whatever you use, whatever your platform is, if you stick that out there, that's the thing that's going to build that picture of you, your flavor, and that's what they'll buy ultimately.
So like an example would be like, maybe if you just done a piece of work with a client or just had a meeting with a client, you say like, had a meeting with a medium-sized SME recruitment company or something like that. Something literally just like one sentence can suffice with that.
Yeah, or whatever your beliefs are. I mean, again, it's hard to do this in the abstract now, but when you talk about something that's happened that resonates with the belief, you talk about the thing that's happened, but you put your belief in there. So I might say, had an opportunity to do some work with the 360 just in a tussle now, because as everyone knows, I don't believe in it. I mean, I'd do it better than that, obviously, but you know what I mean? It's an also ran, but these also rans, these additional pieces of information, what do they call them in videos, Kirsty? When you have a little video, is it not a cookie? What's that little thing back in the old days in tapes? They'd put a little thing at the end, which was a secret message. Oh, I can't think what the name of it is now.
Like an end scene.
No, it'd be a secret thing back at the end. It's like a little bit of
Oh, Easter
information.
egg.
An Easter egg. There you go. Right.
An
So
Easter egg.
it's like Easter eggs, really. These little things, and gradually they will, I promise, connect. They will
Okay.
connect with people, and people will build this picture. Now, do stress. You will repel as many people as you attract, but so what? The people you attract is where the money is. The people you repel, you'd never do business with anyway, because they clearly don't like the way in which you work. So,
And you could very easily waste a lot of time, a lot of effort, some resources, perhaps even some money on them, taking them out for lunch or whatever. So repelling people that aren't going to work with you ultimately is going to be just as good for you
yeah,
as spending, because then you've got more time to focus on people that will actually convert into cash.
100%. Yeah,
Okay,
100%.
fantastic. So the next one, Mike, is I think one that a lot of people don't realize the power of because we haven't really needed to use it lately.
You haven't.
But the
No.
third step is to ask for referrals.
Yes, it absolutely is. Now, as you quite rightly point out, we've had referrals coming in. I'm sure everyone watching this show gets referrals, inbound leads. Oh, so and so's told me to talk to you, both for candidates, contractors, interims, and temps, and also, of course, for clients. So we know the power of referrals, but we don't really have to work very hard to get them. In a market that compresses, you have to work harder to get the referrals. Quite frankly, because there's less opportunity out there for someone to refer someone else, and there's less need, because incumbent suppliers will probably satisfy the needs of your existing clients, right? So to be able to get in there through a referral, they've really got to understand what you're about. Oh, you want that? Oh, you need to talk to these guys because they're the guys that do that thing that you want. And the fact that you have made that plain what your flavour is, and you've promoted the bejeebers out of it, means that not just internally, but I'm talking when you go out to drinks with people, have lunch with them, have meetings with them, talk about the flavour. Little bit of Easter egg here, Easter egg there, dropping into the conversation so people totally get what you're about. Therefore, when you ask for referrals, you're much more likely to get them. And that's something that you have to start to do. Hey, so it goes something like this. So, are you happy with what we're doing? Yes, delighted with what you, okay. If you ever come across anybody else who you think would benefit from the service that you get in the same way that you do, then I would love to hear from them. And then you need to make it clear what the flavour is if they don't already know. Typically what you would say, I just want somebody like you, because it's easy for them to remember that. Now, we have a whole course on this, which is free. So this isn't a promo. You can have it. It's free. It's just being transferred over, I think, isn't it, from
It is. We are in the process of just making it
into the
available
job, going
online.
into the
Yeah.
job, you're right. But it's free, and there's no upsell at the end of it or anything. It's just a free course. But it's called a proactive referral system, and can increase the number of referrals in a good day by 10%. Its average. So if you want that, just stick a 3 in the comments, just a number 3, and then when it's ready, we'll just drop you a link, and you can do it if you want to. So I'm not going to dwell too much on referrals, or except to say that part of the strategy is you begin to ask for them.
Yeah. Be proactive with it. Hunt for
Be
them.
proactive, very much so, yeah.
Because also another thing with referrals is it's fine, but you can't plan on them. Whereas when you ask for them, because you're then going to get a higher conversion rate, you definitely can't put it in your forecast, but you can sort of have a general idea. Okay. So, Mike, the next one is to build a relationship pipeline.
Okay.
So when we get into this, can you just explain to people what a relationship pipeline actually is?
Okay. So we all know what a revenue pipeline is. It's how much, how soon, how likely for pieces of work. So, well, so and so is going to be looking for somebody next month, so that's in the pipeline, and all the pipeline equates to is work, and that's great when there's plenty of it about. But when you're having to work hard to win a client before you even get a chance of a piece of work, how do you keep all of those people? And you keep them in a relationship pipeline. And I'm going to do a full show on a relationship pipeline later on. It'll be next month or so, I think, because it's more than I can explain now. But essentially what it is, you start off with a bunch of people who've got no idea who you are, but you think from what you can learn about them on LinkedIn that they might be reasonable clients for you. Okay, and the ideal is to move people forward stage by stage, and these are well-defined stages, by the way. Move them stage by stage using the various tactics and tools that you've got, and either put them in the end zone where they become clients, or get rid of them as soon as you can. As soon as you realize they're not going anywhere, get rid of them, because they'll just burn time and money that you won't have in a recession. So a relationship pipeline can be run on a spreadsheet. We don't need to have a fancy CRM system. Some CRM systems do them, some don't. They all have revenue pipelines, but few of them have proper relationship pipelines, and that's a shame. But you can use a very simple spreadsheet for it. And then your job, as I said, is to put people in it and move people forward. So watch out for that show when we cover it. I won't say any more on that right now.
I think that the really key thing on that before we move on, we've got a lot of threes coming through. So obviously people are very attracted to a proactive referral system. But
It'll
with
be
this
available
relationship
soon, yeah.
pipeline, I think the key thing is two things. Is one, it's more common for junior members of staff to get stuck in this. And also moving forward, if the recession does come, when the recession comes, it's going to be so easy to almost accidentally waste a lot of time and effort on someone who
Oh, yeah.
genuinely is never going to convert. But part of this relationship pipeline involves not necessarily tests, but definitely trigger spots to see if they are going to move
No,
forward. And
they
if
are
they're
tests.
not,
They are
well, okay,
tests.
then
Yeah,
they're
no,
tests.
they're tests. Yeah, we look for people to self-select. So we put things in front of them that if they go for what we put in front of them, that's a test. It's a self-selection. They move forward. If you test out a relationship 2 or 3 times and you don't get any positivity from it, get rid of them, because you're going to waste time. There is no shortage of prospective clients out there. You just make sure that the people that you put your effort into are the ones that are likely to end up crossing the client line and going where the money is. So, and that's really important. Again, we haven't had to run this for 14 years. And so, whatever, but this is really important. And ostensibly, that relationships are what we're good at as human beings. So it's no big deal, but it's having a plan. Because if you went out to 100 people right now, and you could get 100 people in a room, right? And you could present what you do, about 5 of them roughly would be interested. They wouldn't necessarily buy, because you've got to convert them, but yeah, okay, I'm interested. Yeah, got a need. Current supplier's letting me down a bit, or it's a new need. I'm liking what you're saying. Sell to me. About 50% you're going to get nowhere with. They're just not interested in you at all, and there's nothing you can do to change that. Where the money is, where the battleground is the forgotten 45%. The people who are effectively saying to you, not now, but maybe. And in many cases, in a traditional transactional model that most recruiters live in, end of the month driven, those people, those 45%, just get chucked to the side because there's no money for me now. I'm looking for the 5% all the time. Whereas in a relationship pipeline, those 45% are not forgotten. They are processed. And there's potentially 9 times as much money in that forgotten 45% as there is in the 5%. Well worth going. And most of your competitors will not bother with them because they'll be so desperate to get some revenue behind the line at the end of the month. So
that's the thing with this, I think, is on a relationship pipeline, it involves value and creating relationship levels. So when you are in a space where people are frantically looking for requirements, they are cold calling because that's all they can do in a recession to get roles. When they're doing that to these people in the forgotten 45, they're going to be irritated by the fact that this person is just calling up and essentially asking for business straight away. Whereas you're putting value into them, giving them a relationship, they're more likely to convert with you.
We've actually done some research in this with end clients. So I speak from a position of data. Yes, it's like they want to do business with me and they're just not interested. They see me as a source of revenue. I mean, these are the statements that you get back. If there's no work, they're not interested. They never call me. They never take any interest in me. And yet that's a shame, because that's where the big money is. And when you're trying to win new clients, let me tell you, they'll probably have a supplier base of agencies just like you who are doing a reasonably good job because there's more candidates around. They're probably going to be very hard to reach. They're probably going to have very little time available. And half the time they won't even have a need anyway. They won't have a vacancy. You've got to get through all of that to be a supplier to them, which is why the flavour is so strong, because you've got something to say. This is my version of recruitment. If you believe in this, come to me because I'm the best, right? And part of that promotion is to have as many video testimonials as you can get of basically people with the Easter eggs in them. So, that thing they say they do? Well, they do. They absolutely do. And I love it, right? As much of that as you can possibly manage. And those are the things that you need really to sell. To spend lots of time and money on this. In fact, this is pretty much a zero cash solution for you. It's just time and organization, really.
Okay. Now, we are going to have to move on for a second. Gavin did put a 4 in the comments, and he said that's in advance of our relationship pipeline documentation to come. We don't have any, but if you do want a reminder or an invitation to that show when we run it, feel free to pop a 4 in the comments as well.
Yes, Gavin. Thanks for that. Big cheesy grin from Gavin, and for sure. But this is something that I'm very keen on, because I know, and I am firmly of the belief that this is one of my beliefs. The people that do best in recruitment are the people that really approach the forgotten 45% and nurture them and cultivate them, because that's where the money is really. Well, 9 times as much potentially is in the 5%. So hey, why wouldn't you? So I'm really quite keen. I'm looking forward to doing that one, actually.
Fantastic. Now, just a reminder before we move on to the final one, we are going to run over a little bit today because we wanted to give this the time it deserved. So if you have to leave, you can watch the rest of this over on the YouTube channel, which I'll put a link to in the comments.
Just jump in at 30 minutes and the rest of it is from where you left off.
Welcome back, everyone.
Hey.
So the final one, Mike, is something that we've spoken around a couple of times, is create an AIDA campaign around a strong piece of content. Now, why is this important?
Well, if you're going to people that don't know you, and those people don't think they need to know you because everything's fine with the suppliers they've already got, you're going to have a pretty compelling reason for them to start a conversation with you, to put them either into the 5%, the 50%, or the 45%. And what will do that for you is an AIDA campaign. So we've done a show on this. Again, if you don't mind putting the links in, Kirsty, into the comments, you can go watch this. But ostensibly, what an AIDA campaign will start a dialogue with a big percentage of those people that you reach out to, if it's done properly and if the content at the heart of it is strong enough. If it's a strong enough reason, then people will talk to you. And it's down to you then. It's down to you as to how committed you are to your flavour of recruitment, how much you actually deliver what you promise, and how much they like that, how much they want that in their world. And I think that an AIDA campaign is such a powerful way to do it, because once again, it's pretty much free, tiny amounts of money if you're going to spend any money at all. And I don't mean, by the way, for those people that don't know what I'm talking about here, I mean, go and watch the video, but I don't mean like an email campaign. I mean, please. Emails being read are pretty low at the moment in a recession, through the floor, mate. So no. So you need that AIDA campaign to basically say, hey, look at me, look at what I've got, talk to me. That's what it does. Once it's been built and once you can prove that it works, anyone can run it for you. Your junior marketer can run it. You can outsource it to, your VA or something. So once it works, you can just keep running it. And if it starts a conversation with enough people and they like your flavor, then you will do business. You will win clients, even in a recession.
And I think the other thing with this is, as a business owner, as a business leader during a recession, if you've got employees, as a leader, you are going to be probably responsible for winning a lot of clients. You're going to be, a lot of your clients that you want to keep sweet and happy are going to want to speak to the big head honcho. So your time is going to be much more limited. So having a campaign that is much more scalable, that can be run by other people, that, can be involved everybody but you in the company, is going to be supremely powerful.
Time is everything, because, okay, let's hope that, and I've got a secret suspicion it won't get this bad, but let's hope it doesn't get so bad that you have to let people go, because then you'll have less people and more work to do. So, you cannot afford to invest time and effort into people that aren't going to potentially become clients. Realistic chance to become clients one day. It's ludicrous. And all of the things that we've talked about today, a clear definition. In fact, I'll just summarize up now. I think.
Yeah, feel free.
So define that clear definition, and we do workshops on these occasionally. If you want, we haven't got anything planned, but if you want to be considered, we'll send a link to you. Just put a 4
5
in the comments.
Put a 5 in the comments.
5.
We've already done 4. Put a 5 in the comments.
What about 3? Didn't use 3?
We've done 3. We've done 4. We haven't done 5. So if you want, if we get enough, we will try and run a workshop sooner. So if somebody wants a workshop on this, then put a 5.
Yeah, please do. Just stick a 5 in, and if we get enough, we'll do it. But the point is that once you've got that, and once you feel confident in it, then if you go long on it and promote it, it makes it easier not only to get referrals, but it's also when you reach out to people that they're more likely to engage with you, because they know what you stand for and they kind of like it, or they don't, which is fine. That's what we want it to be. And I think And then if you can build a pipeline, which you're going to need, a relationship pipeline, keep your revenue pipeline going, because that's the forecast for the next 3 to 6 months. But really, you need a relationship pipeline, which probably stretches out for 6, 9, 12 months even into the future, which makes forecasting, by the way, so much easier. Because what you'll find is, no, I'm not going to go ahead of that, because I'm going to give the game away, aren't I?
Keep it in.
Okay. And then, yeah, so relationship pipeline. And then lastly, our old favorite, the AIDA campaign. Make sure you've got a really chunky piece of content that you know your community that you sell to is interested in, is compelling to them, resonates, relates to them, and then wrap a campaign around it, and that will begin conversations with a percentage of the people that you reach out to. And then if you put them into your relationship pipeline, you can process them through, dropping off the ones that aren't serious and keeping the ones forward that are. I just end on this, and this is not a punt. I'm not asking for anything, but this is what we do, and it works. We've been doing it for years. This is what I believe in. This is how I like to do business, recession or no recession. This works. It's just that it's going to be needed more in the times that we're about to move into. And like you said earlier, you don't fix a hole in your roof when it's raining, do you? You fix the hole in the roof when it's sunny, like it is today, as a matter of fact. So, and it is in Solihull anyway. So I hope that's been some use to you. I hope that, I'm sure, I don't know, it's quite a lot. If people got questions, then fine, you can fire them up now. But I hope that's been of some use. More about thinking, some of the smaller tactics I know, hopefully you'll be able to do, but do that flavour, number one.
Okay, so that's a bit early, so we just hold that thought, Mike. So before we do that, I'm going to come to the final tip in a second, which you've just given a spoiler for. If you do have any questions, feel free to pop in. But first, let's talk about who we've got next week on the show.
Okay, bring that up then, Kirsty.
So we have the very special guest, Nikki Larkin, who is going to talk to us about outsourcing your accounts function. So, Mike, why should people tune in for this?
This is another belief of mine. If it doesn't touch the clients, then you can potentially outsource it. Put the effort into where the money is and where the differentials are, and that's any time you touch your clients and candidates. Your back office, your accounts function, particularly if you're a smaller business, is not necessarily something that's it just needs to be done and done well. There's not a huge amount of business benefit other than that. And so if you've got a back office that's not as good as you think it would be, or things aren't as slick as you want, or you're not getting the management information that you want, or blah, 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 then you are a prime candidate for outsourcing. So we're having our friend Nikki Larkin on the show, and she's going to talk to us about that. The how and the why, the benefits, the pros and the cons, and how you would do it and what can happen and how much it costs and blah, blah, blah. So if you're interested in that, would like to know about it, tune in next week.
Okay, fantastic. Very excited about that. And now, Mike, finally, the way we see, this is what happens when I'm away for 2 weeks. You get untrained. This is what happens. So, Mike, for those of us who are watching, we've given a lot of information today. We've covered a lot of things. If someone were to do anything from this show, what is the thing that they should do?
It is the flavour. You've got to build your flavour. Now you know what your ICP is, probably. You know your ideal client profile. You know what your niche is. Yada yada yada. Where you might be a bit vague is around your beliefs. These external beliefs. These things that say, this is what we believe. This colours what we do. Focus is what we do. If you believe the same, we'll do well together. If you don't believe that, I'm not sure. Whether we can do business very effectively. Those are the beliefs, and those are the things that have the most power when you begin to talk to people. So get those down. And if we did a workshop, by the way, that's what we would do, the external beliefs.
Okay, fantastic. So we have overrun just a little bit, guys. Thank you so much for everybody who has stuck with us and stayed with us. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Mike for just being fabulous, really, for just being your magnificent self.
Thank you for coming back, Peter. It was rubbish, wasn't he?
I'm here now. Don't worry, guys. I'm back. I will not be going anywhere. Fantastic. Okay, so we will see you all next week, hopefully, with Nikki Larkin. And in the meantime, have a good day.
We'll see you next week.